Now, I'm constantly asked about setting up a grid bot and how would I go about setting up a grid bot for Bitcoin, for example. And so in this video, I wanted to give you an idea of maybe what I would do if I was setting up a grid bot. So the first thing I'm going to choose is I'm going to choose the blockchain. So you can either have Pancake fee free, or the Aerodrome on Base. I would suggest Base because it has a lot less trading fees. Then you want to choose your token here. So I'm going to choose a Bitcoin. Now on Base, it's CBBTC, and you can either do that with USDC or USDT. Now let's say that you had a budget of $200 that you were going to use for this grid, and what price range would you set it on? Now by default, the system will give you a couple of price ranges, but I don't want to use those price ranges. So what I want to do is go over to TradingView. So on TradingView, you can see there's quite a large range of trading. Now the bottom price down here is 100,364. And that's been quite consistent now for a few months under the, not dropping below that 100,000 there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my lower price on Jonny blockchain to 100,000. And this is the lower price here. So I'm just going to put in here 100,000. And then we need a higher price. So if we go back to TradingView, and you can use any chart for this whatever you like. You can use Deck Screen or anything. I'm just using TradingView. There'll be multiple prices that you'll see on the internet because when, some exchanges will be a couple of dollars different. So, you don't have to be right down to the penny. So at the time of making this video, Bitcoin is sitting at around $106,035, around there. So if I look at the topper price, I've got two prices. This one's bounced off of this a couple of times. So I've got that price mark there, which is 110, but I've also got a price mark up here of 112. So I think I'm going to set my higher price at around about that 112. So go back to Jonny blockchain, and then in the higher price, so I want to put 112 and 3 zeros because obviously that's 112,000. Now, if we look at the grid, you've got these red lines on the grid, which is the sell price, and you've got these green lines is when the bot could do a buy. So you'll see through the middle of the chart there's those squiggly lines. Now what happens is those lines need to cross either a red line or a green line for it to trigger a buy or a sell. Now what we want to do is we want to come back to the grid settings, because you've got this unique setting that says sell at high price or buy at high price. So if I buy at high price, that means the 112. The price needs to go above 112 before the bot can sell. Now, if I put sell at high price, that means the bot will buy down here on that green space there, on that green line there, which is what, in between 109 and 110. Can you see that one that's right in the middle there? So that will be the last time the bot buys on this grid, and then it would be able to sell at 112. But if you believe it's going to go above 112 and maybe your buy should be at 112, that means the bot will buy at 112, but the sell price could be just above 114, in between 114 and 115,000. The price would move up based on this amount of lots here and this amount of funds. But coming to the lots, now at the moment the default setting says 10, so that means there'd be 10 buys and 10 sells on the grid. Each buy will be for $20. Now the more grids you have, the more lines on the grid, the more chance you've got of picking up profit. Now the minimum lot size is $10. So you could put in here 20 if you wanted to, and that would create more lines on the grid, which gives a lot more buying opportunity and a lot more selling opportunity. Having more grids inside the bot can be an advantage and a disadvantage, and let me show you what I mean. Now I've got a fund here of 200, so the maximum amount of lines on the grid I can have is 20. So that would mean each buy would be for $10. Now, the problem is $10 is a small amount, because if you look here, Jonny Blockchain gives you what the average profit will be, and that will be 6 cents. Now, if you was to change this grid to 12, that means that there's a price difference of $1,000 between each grid line. And it also means that your profit has gone up from that 6 cents to 17 cents. Now, this is a personal preference for you. You can either set your grid up so that it buys and sells more lines on the grid and makes less profit, or you can pick a price range like I've done here of saying, well, I want there to be a gap between each buy of about $1,000. But let me be perfectly clear at this point. This is not financial advice, and you should always do your own research. Now, coming back to the grids down here. So let's say we got it set on to sell at the high price, which is that 112, and I've got it set for 12 grids. Now, if the price drops down below 100,000, the bot would have bought all its lots up and it would be just sitting there doing nothing. I would suggest that you only trade tokens that you're willing to hold. Now, I'm happy to hold Bitcoin because I believe if it does drop below 100 grand, it will eventually go back up. Now, if we look at the top range, I believe that over time, Bitcoin's going to go up a lot higher than 112. So that means if it does go above 112, I would have made my profit from this grid. I would have got my funds released, which is 200 plus the profit, sitting inside my MetaMask wallet, but them funds wouldn't be working for me anymore. So here's a suggestion of what you could do. So let's go over to my spreadsheet. So this number 2 is the grid bot that I would set up right now. So this would be set up and it would have a fund of $200. And if it bought all those grids, it means it would have spent the $200. Now, if the price had dropped down below that 100,000, which is the lower price, and then it means that I'll be just holding those tokens, in this case Bitcoin, and waiting for the price to go up. But what I could do would be to set up another grid at the same time I set this number 2 up, set up this grid here for a lower range. So if it buys its last grid on here, you know, the price point is 100,000. This should be 99 actually. Sorry, made a mistake there. So if it bought this last one at 100,000, then I would set another grid up with the high price at 99,000 and the low price of 86,000. So if it moves into here and it starts to use up funds here, I could possibly need to have a reserve fund of about $400. Now, I don't believe it's going to go down to 86,000, but that's just my belief. Of course, anything's possible. You know, World War III could start tomorrow. So that's one option that you could do. But the next option you could do is add another range above this top one. So this is the range I'm setting now. Now, if I don't have $400 available, and I say, well, I believe it's going to go up above 112, but I don't have $400 available for it to run in this 110 to 112 range. So what you could do, you could set up another grid bot that did its first trade at 113. So the lower price was 113. You could set that up right now because it would have made the profit from this one. If it moved into this grid bot, this one up here, this number 1 that I've got here, it would have moved into profit. It would have already made the profit. So you wouldn't need those extra funds for this grid bot to start. So in theory, what I should have done was put this as number 1. This could be number 2, and that one down there could be number 3. Now, what I could do, if I wanted to, I could set up a number 4. I could put a 4 in here. Let's just do that to 4. You could set this up to 4 and pop that into there. Bring this up. So this could be number 4, because if the price goes above 136,000, again, I would have made my profit. So I could put in here 137,000. And then what I want to do is put this range at 20% higher than this price here, which would be around 164.65. So I'm going to do 165,000. So let's recap again. So if I set my first bot up now, which is this number 1, for 110 to 112 range. If the price goes up, I could have a second bot running to say 113 to 136. But if the price does go below the 110, I've got this reserve bot down below that, which has a lower price range of 86,000. I don't believe it's going to go back to 86,000, but it could. But if the price of Bitcoin kept going up and up, I'm only actually allocating $200 because I've got $200 here. When it gets into this one, I've already made the profit from this $200 that I had allocated here. And if the price goes above 136, I've already made my profit from that $200 in this price range. Now I could go on. I could set up another one if I wanted to, or multiple ones, and put new price ranges. So I'd go $1,000 above this price range. So this would be 166,000. And then the upper range would be 20% above that 116,000, which is 140,000 thereabouts. This way, by setting up my grid bots, I'm picking up profits all the time. I don't have to have all the funds available because I only need $200, providing in this price range here, providing the price doesn't drop down. So the maximum I need to set aside for this bot is $400 because I'd have this one and this one. But if I believed it was going to go below 86,000, which I don't, but if I did, I could set up another one to say, well, I'll have $600 in reserve. But hopefully you get the idea. You can set up as many grid bots as you like in different price ranges, and they will only trigger when it gets into those price ranges. It's a bit like setting up limit orders in an order book to say, well, I'm going to buy Bitcoin at 100,000. I'm going to buy it at 113,000. I'm going to buy it at 136,000, 37,000, 165,000. I'm going to keep doing that. The problem is with limit orders, you have to have the funds to place your order into the order book. So if you say I'm going to buy at 100,000 and I'm going to buy $200 worth, you need the $200 and that'll be gone out of your wallet. And then if you say, well, I want to buy again when it gets to $113,200, you need another $200. And that will go from your wallet because it's inside the exchange, inside the order book. And if it's in decentralized, it will be locked into a smart contract. Those funds, you won't be able to allocate them for other trading robots because they'll be in there. But with these grid bots, it's like having limit orders placed in the order book that you don't need to have the funds for. So my personal view is grid bots are much more better to set up than spot bots. If I look at my grid bots now, so I've set a few up here. So I've got this one that's running now. This is the price of what I believe it's in the range of now, which is 100,000 to 112, and I'll switch that on. Coming down to this next one, I'm going to switch it on. I've got this red symbol to say it's outside the grid, but this won't kick in until the price range gets to 113,000, which is $1,000 above this price range here. I've called the bot names PR for price range, lower price range, upper price range. And the same here, lower price range 113 to 136. Now, if the price goes above 136, I would have made my profit from this grid. I'd have made my profit from this grid. This next grid could kick in. So I'll switch that one on. This is going to kick in at 137 to 165. And again, if the price goes up, I would have made my profit from this one. And that would go into my next grid bot, which would be 166,000, which is $1,000 above this higher range. And the upper range would be 199,000. Switch those bots on. Now, in theory, if I count this up, because I've got $200 allocated for each bot, I've got $2, $4, $6, $800. But I only need $200 to activate all this, because I need the $200 for this one. Once it moves out of that price range, goes above, it's going to go into this one. Now, of course, it could go below. So I could, if I wanted to, set up another grid bot with a lower 100,000, which is this one here, what I said here, which would trigger at 99,000, and it would have a price range 99 and 86. So let's just do that. So I come up the top, I click on plus, So I change the name of the bot first to the price range, which is 86 to 99. I choose the network that I want to be on. I'm going to be on the base network, and then I choose the token. So I've got Bitcoin on USDC. Now, sometimes if you don't see this approved and you've already approved it, just refresh the screen and do it again, you know. So I'm now going to come and change this to 12 lots because that's what I want it to be. I've got my $200 and I need to put the lower price at 86,000. So put in here 86, 1, 2, 3, and the upper price at 99,000. So that's my bot set up, and at the moment it's outside of the grid, you know, because the price is up here. So my grid is below, so it's not going to use my funds, okay? It's not going to spend my money unless the price drops below this 100k, which I don't believe it will. But this is just a safeguard. So click save on that, and then I look for that bot, because when I've saved it, it won't be active, and it's down here. So now I've got all my bots, and I could add more bots if I want in the higher range. You know, I could go and add more bots above this one that was here. What, this 199,000. I could add another bot that goes to 200,000 plus 20%, and keep setting up those grid bots. And it's set and forget, isn't it? You spend what, 20 minutes or so adding your bots. Once you've done that, set and forget it, and you know exactly what your bot's going to do. It's not going to buy tokens if it drops down below your price range, and it's going to trade within that grid. Now obviously this is only $200. You could be looking for this bot to give you an ROI of about 54% a year, you know, which is pretty amazing. Now obviously more funds that you trade with, the more cash you get out, but you know the ROI should be around 54% with this type of bots that I've set up here. So hopefully you found that helpful. If you want to create your own trading robot, below this video you're going to find a link. It's going to take you over to Jonny blockchain. You've got decentralized trading or centralized trading. Your funds stay inside your wallets all the time. So if you're using the decentralized, your funds stay inside your MetaMask. If you're using the centralized on Binance, then your funds stay inside your Binance account. You don't have to send your funds to this platform to do the trading for you. You can create a free account by clicking on sign up or register. It's going to bring you here. Pop your name, your email address, password, put some ticks in these boxes. Click on this box here to say complete my sign up. You can have a look round, and when you're ready to get started, if you want to set up a decentralized trading robot, it's going to cost you $25 a year to set up as many trading robots as you like. If you want to set up a centralized trading robot with Binance, it's going to cost you another $25 a year, and you can set up as many robots as you like. So if you want to set up both decentralized and centralized trading robots, it's just $50 a year for as many trading robots as you like. Click the link below, come and create your free account, and happy trading.